Hi friends, this is a video for all of you guys who want to come to the United States for doing a PhD degree, and I am especially talking about all of you guys who are wanting to come from India because I understand how much it takes to come here in terms of mental stress and going through a lot of things. So I am going to answer certain questions that I got as a text this morning from one of these young guys from India, and he wants to come here to the United States for doing his PhD degree. And I'm basically going to go through his questions and I'm going to answer them one by one. And this is because these are certain questions that I have been asked by multiple people, young, aspiring people who want to do PhD and pursue research as their career. So this is for all of you guys because all of you basically kind of had the same question. So I just want to make this video so that this is shareable to all of you who are aspiring to come here to do your future studies. So to kind of go into the questions, the first question he's asking is, when should I start my application process? Currently, I'm in the first year of master's and I want to join in fall. So to answer your question, I would say that before you start your application process, what you need to do is you need to start preparing for this exam that's called the GRE, or the Graduate Record Examination. And you can basically start preparing right now for it. And usually it takes about 6 months to a year, depending on how much work you are putting in and how much you are trying to get done. Okay, so that's the one thing that you need to do, because most of the universities here require you to do a GRE exam for graduate studies, and so you would need to go through a GRE exam first. And then, because we belong to a country that is not a English-speaking country, so they would need you to do an English examination just to test and see if you are able to communicate in English and if you're able to put your thoughts together. So for that, they are going to ask you to have at least one of the English examinations, which is either TOEFL or IELTS. And so these are examinations that are basically testing your English speaking skills, reading skills, and writing skills, and listening skills. So basically, this is kind of an easy exam if you already know the language pretty well. So these are the two things that you need to start working on. Okay. So the second question is, before starting the application, is it necessary to make communication with future and possible mentors through an email? If yes, then how to approach them in the email, and should I make a research proposal? So to answer this question, I would say that yes, some professors do pick you up through email. And in fact, when I got selected in my university, it was actually through an email communication that I had done with my professor from India. And what I would suggest is it's really hard, because there are so many universities and so many professors, so many labs, and all the labs are pretty good. They're working on really good projects. And so the first and foremost I would like to suggest is try and read the work that particular labs are doing that you're interested in. So once you have kind of a rough idea of what they are doing, you can start writing emails. The email, for approaching them, you need to keep in mind that the emails should not be a generic email, meaning you should not just write one email like, okay, this is my name and this is what I'm doing, and send it to like 10 different people. No, that doesn't work. Okay, so if you're writing an email to a certain person, you have to write it like, hi, Dr. blah, blah, blah. I am XYZ, and I am doing this, and I am planning in the future to apply to universities, and I was just looking through your profile and I found that blah 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 work of yours kind of caught my interest, and I would like to further be working on this research, be a part of your lab. I would appreciate if you could give me a chance to prove myself as a valuable asset in your lab, and some things of that sort. You basically have to firstly tell him that he's doing the best work in the world, and nobody else is doing anything better than him. And secondly, you have to kind of tell him why you are interested in his lab. So basically, why you want to go to his lab. So what interests you the most? So you basically have to know his papers, know the work he does, and so each email that you send out to a professor, you have to personalize it based off of his lab, okay? Based on his lab or his work. So keep in mind that if you send an email to like 10 professors, maybe you can get one reply, and maybe not even that, okay? But there's no harm in trying, okay? However, I would tell you that I have seen professors who do not like emails before applications, but in general, this is where I would start, okay? So should I make a research proposal? Not really. You don't need to. You can if you want to, but not really, okay? So basically, you just have to say that what interests you in his lab or in her lab, okay? The third thing is you are asking that I have secured a ranking in an exam, but I didn't get admission in a better university, so I didn't take an admission through entrance examination. And does that affect my admission application? So the answer is no, it doesn't. So the things that will affect your application process is definitely your GRE score, because different universities have different requirements over the GRE and the TOEFL scores or the IELTS scores. So that's the one thing that will matter. Second thing is your experience and your field of study. So what you're studying right now matters. If you're doing like a thesis master's, then the thesis matters. So your previous work experience matters. And, it doesn't matter where you're coming from, or, that doesn't really matter. Okay. So what matters is you sort of, if you have like a work experience, is good. And again, that's also not necessary, but it's good if you have it. Okay. So the first question is, I didn't complete my undergraduation from a prestigious university or institute, but I did my UG thesis work from TIFR and CBS, and I will go with the same pattern in my master's also. Because I didn't get into a good university after getting good marks in the national level entrance exam, should my dissertation work negotiate the university name in my degree? Is it good? Or should I need to take admission through entrance, which is better for my PhD admits? So to kind of answer your question, again, kind of repeating myself with the previous question, doesn't matter where you're doing your master's from. I mean, it matters, but not really matters, okay? I know that's kind of a vague answer, but I just mean to say that some professors like to see where you're coming from, and most of the other professors, including my professor, he did not. And if you, like you're saying that you did your UG or undergrad thesis, and you are planning on doing a thesis master, so then I would say that is a pretty good thing. So try and get something published. If you can do that, then it's good. If you don't have a publication, that's okay too, okay? Not a hard and fast rule that you need to have a publication. So what is better for your PhD admits? I would say a lot of your experience matters. Your CV matters the most. Okay. And the other thing that matters is a statement of purpose. And this is where people a lot of times do the wrong thing by, just changing somebody else's statement of purpose, because a lot of the statement of purposes are available on Google. I would say, sit down, read a couple of the statement of purposes before you write your own, so that you kind of have an idea of what you need to write in there. And then once you know what you are required to write for a statement of purpose, you close everything and then write your own, okay, in your own words. And statement of purpose is kind of really important, okay? So if you say what matters for your PhD admissions, your experience, your CV, your background of study or education, meaning like what subjects you have taken previously, and your interests that you have to express as a statement of purpose. So to kind of going back into your previous question, you do not need to write a research proposal, but you do need to write a statement of purpose. So the purpose should include what is your purpose of coming here to study, okay, versus why aren't you just doing it over there? Something like that. If you just read statement of purposes on Google, you will get a better idea. But again, do not copy anybody else's statement of purpose. The statement of purpose should be your own words, okay, your own expressions, your own feelings of why you want to come here, okay? And then going into your fifth question, it says, the main question that every Indian asks before starting an application is finance. How to finance my PhD studies in the US from my very first year without depending on my parents. As I know, PhD studies in the US are fully funded. Is it true? How much money required to reach the US for PhD studies? Money that is required to show during a visa interview. If PhD studies are fully funded by the university provided admission letter, is it sufficient for a visa interview, or do I need to arrange extra funds to show during visa interviews if studies are fully funded? Okay. So to answer your question, also you say that this question is really important because I don't put a burden on my parents, which is pretty good. I really appreciate that. And I was on the same boat as you were. And I guess all of us Indian students who want to come here and pursue a PhD, we are kind of on the same boat. A lot of students who come for masters kind of do go into education loans, which is an option. But most of the times what happens here is you're talking about a fully funded PhD. So there are two ways that this can happen. So the first thing is you get a graduate assistantship, which can be of two kinds. Either it's a research assistantship or it's a teaching assistantship. And so if it's a teaching assistantship, that basically means is you will be required to teach classes of undergrads, taking labs, of different sections. And that would pay you like a job, okay, basically. So the money you get from that, doing that, is, I can tell you for my university at least, is more than enough for you to stay here, survive, and also save a little, okay? So that's what happens when you first start. If you get a research assistantship, then it's even better. Then you get paid as a research assistant, which means you basically work in the lab and do your research, and you don't really have to do anything else. So like basically you don't have to teach or anything, okay? You just have to kind of work in the lab, and that's what you're here for, right? Doing a PhD, and you get paid for it, okay? And that's enough for you to pay for rent, pay for food, pay for staying here and surviving here, and also for a little bit of saving, okay? Which basically means you can send back money home to your parents to help them if need be, okay? I would say that sometimes some universities do not offer this at the first go. And in that case, you can take a loan if you want to, because there are education loans that are available. If you don't want to take a loan, then I would keep applying until you get into a university that is offering you a graduate assistantship. Now, there's another twist to this, is paying your tuition. Okay, so some universities require you to pay a certain amount as a tuition. But then again, whatever you get paid by a graduate assistantship should be enough for you to pay your rent, to pay for food, paying for staying here, and to pay off your tuition. Okay? So that's something. That's a piece of information. Some universities like to pay your tuition, which they deduct from the graduate assistantship money. Okay? So you get less of the assistantship money and you're not having to pay the tuition. Basically, it's either way. You get the whole money and then you pay a part as a tuition, or you just don't get that part and you get paid whatever amount of graduate assistantship. But regardless, okay, whatever money you get as graduate assistantship should cover your stay over here in the US. At least for me, I can tell you from my experience that I had to never ask for money from my parents. And I was also able to send money back home to help if need be. Okay? So that's a piece of information. So yeah, don't have to worry about that. Not yet. Yes, one thing is when you are doing your application process, for example, for doing your GRE exam, it takes about 14 to 15,000 rupees. I don't know what it's right now, but you can find that out on the ETS website. But the GRE and the TOEFL examination would cost you about, say, roughly about Indian rupees. And 30,000 Indian rupees just for the examinations, you would need that much. And then for applying for a visa, you need about like 12,000 rupees. And then, let me think, what else? Yeah, that's pretty much it, actually. And then when you're doing your applications, every university has an application fee, which varies from $40 to $90 to $100 per university. Okay, so here I would like to say that when you're applying or going for your GRE examination, you should have your universities listed in your mind, because after the GRE examination, they're going to ask you that, do you want us to send these scores to any university? So they are going to send the GRE score directly from the ETS to 4 universities. Okay, that's all that you can send it to. If you want to apply to another university, which is the 5th or the 6th university, there is a nominal fee that you have to pay to the ETS to have them send your score to your university that you're applying to, because the universities do not accept the score that you send them. Okay, it has to go directly from the GRE or the ETS to the university. So keep that in mind. Apart from that, like I was saying, that every university has their own application charges, and that varies from university to university. So that's one thing. And then other than that, pretty much it. And then finally, you just need your flight tickets. That's it. And then your 6th question is, I want to apply for fall 2023. So I have 2 years time on the application procedure. In this time, what kind of things that I should need to do to make my PhD application more competitive? For example, research paper, internship, poster, presentation, etc. And you say any tips. So yes, I would say, like, as I said before, your CV matters. Okay, so do anything that would help you strengthen your CV. Okay, research paper, of course, publications definitely matter. And then for the others out there, I would say that just in case if you don't have a chance to, go for a thesis, or you don't have a chance to do a research publication or publish a paper, it's not super important. But if you have it, it's a cherry on top, basically. So if you can, publish a paper, good for you. Definitely counts. That adds a whole bunch of points right away. Okay. Internship, I would say not as much. Working in a company, no. Doing an internship in a company, not as much. But when it comes to a PhD, what matters more than internship is your research experience, and that you can get through doing work in a lab. Okay, so lab work or your thesis research work, more your research, more you add points right away on your CV. Okay, so heavier the CV you make yourself more, competitive to others out in the market. Okay. Poster presentations, of course, yes, definitely. If you have a conference that you can attend, yes. If you can present a poster in a conference, yes. If you can present a talk in a conference, oh yes, okay. All of those. If you can do any of those, okay, is really good. It adds up to your CV. So, and that's pretty much it. And I would just say, like, concentrate on what you're doing. If you concentrate on these things more than right now, then you're going to basically harm your master's scores. So I would say a part of your brain, give it to your master's since you're doing that right now. Okay. And then the rest, like say 1/4 part of your brain, I would say give it to preparing for your GRE or TOEFL examinations, okay? And what I would suggest is like make a schedule, like, okay, every day in a week, or not every day, maybe every alternate day in a week, say Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I will study for GRE for 1 hour, something like that, okay? Because it's still 2 years from now, right? So next year, basically, you have to think about when to apply or when to like start planning for the exam, like the real exam. And so I would say that try, if you want to apply for fall 23, I would say, I didn't really understand if you want to apply in fall 23 for spring 24, or you want to apply for fall 24. So if you want to apply or come here in fall 24, then fall 23, then you have to apply in spring 23. Okay. For that, you have to already be done with GRE and TOEFL by the 2022. Okay. So do your calculations accordingly. And then, of course, to all of you, I would say, if you have more questions, please feel free to put it down in the comments section below, and I will try to answer them. If they're just 1 or 2 small questions, I will just answer them right away over there. If not, then I'll just make you another video with your questions. So that's pretty much it. And I'm so sorry to like answer your question like this over a YouTube video, because I was too lazy to type so many things. And I have actually talked about this to so many different people that I just feel like this is going to be helpful for everyone. So with that, I would like to say, keep up your hopes and high five and prepare well, and let me know if you have more questions, and hopefully I answered your questions, all of them. Thank you.